Yo, 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 it's Mr. Selfish and I'm back. This one's about a bit of an interesting quote. I heard this quote yesterday and it kind of got me a bit late. I think I had a bit of a delayed reaction with it. Like when I first heard it, I thought, it's interesting. But anyhow, coming back from the gym, I remember this quote, and the quote was, "My life is full of misery that will never happen." And to me, that explains a lot with what people are going through today. Like, my life is full of misery that will never happen. So at first hearing that, you're thinking my life is full of misery, that's something that's really, negative. And then you hear that will never happen. So it's almost a paradoxical statement. So why is it an issue if it's not going to happen? But your life is actually full of misery. And what I thought was interesting is how it directly connects to the mind and most people's approach of life, approach at life today, is where we get this mental chatter. We have this habitual negative thinking again and again and again, constantly worrying about, the future, constantly worrying about what people may think of your past, constantly worrying about how you're, conducting yourself presently, how people are thinking. It's always something external in a sense. And also, I guess, how you're feeling about yourself too. I just thought that quote was really, really interesting and really, really relatable to people today. That we almost fill our minds full of negative things, which actually become real once we start to think it. And then we start living out that reality, like linking to this negative thought we've now just created. So now this misery is now actually happening. Do you understand what I mean? So the misery that wouldn't happen if we didn't think about it or didn't feed it now happens because we now give it life. But what really intrigued me was the other side of the story. How I've kind of expanded on the quote in terms of, it says my life is full of misery that will never happen. But how I saw it was, my life is full of joy that will never happen. Because if you can look at it one way, you can look at it the other way. They're both quite paradoxical statements in a sense. But what's important is, what are you putting into action to get the happening? If you understand. If your life's full of misery, but it won't happen, if your life is full of misery, that will never happen. You have to sort of put certain things into place for that misery to happen. So once you think it, you start to emulate what you think. And then that misery starts to manifest. Now, suppose you flip that into, my life is full of joy. That will happen. And then you start to put actions into the joy that will happen. It's a complete flip. And it's very, very simple. Just a simple change of perspective. So, yeah, that one hit me today. And I thought I'll share that with you guys. It's an interesting one. If you guys like that touch y'all, drop a comment or something, man. I want to talk to you guys, you know what I'm saying? So don't be a stranger. Like, comment, and share that, man. Peace. Stay with me.